This is not just a greeting, it signifies a hope that the beautiful morning will bring a smile on your face and happiness in your life. So I wish each one of you a very lovely and beautiful morning and welcome you all to the IIEBM's induction program Ignite 2021. I am Professor Neeraj Sathavne from placement team of IIEBM, your host for this session. This session will be of an hour and 15 minutes, where 60 minutes will be a knowledge sharing and rest 15 minutes will be for question and answer. You can type your questions in the chat box, which will be addressed at the end of the session. It's not about ideas, but it's about making ideas happen. And who else can explain it better than our today's guest, Arvind Kumar sir. He has started his journey from executive and now working as a CEO of the same company in single decade. So he will talk about his journey. So before we will start the session, I will first start his motivational video and then I will introduce him.
I was born in a small village of Haryana, a northern state in India. I come from a household where most of us are doctors and myself being the odd one out, an engineer. All my cousins are doctors. During the holidays, we all used to meet in the village. And whenever we discussed the lessons learned in formal education, I was feeling a bit different. All medical education students were talking about practical they do of whatever theory they are learning in the class. To be frank, that was not the case with me, and I was feeling a bit different. One fine day, I have been asked, will you go to a doctor who has never seen the patient? And obviously, the answer was no. I'm asking you, will you go to a doctor who has never seen a patient? Obviously, the answer is no. No one wants to take that kind of risk. And the follow-up question was, why would a company then hire an engineer who has never seen the patient, who has never practiced the theory he has learned during the formal education? To be very frank, I had no answer on that day. However, that conversation stuck with me. Later on, I have pursued my master's in management education. And from day one, I was focused in gathering the practical exposure and learning during my management education. I'm a big believer in science. And science taught us many things. It's an evidence-based approach. So much so that even the practitioners of science believe in practical. And hence, I was completely focused in trying out the practical, real, on-ground experience during those days. And obviously, I was not getting enough opportunities. On that day, I have decided that whenever I will be privileged to give that kind of exposure to the students, I will do my bit of it. And that is the reason I'm talking to you today. I don't want to give the random theory, but here my conversation is to do my bit of it to create the ecosystem where the students, especially the management students, are exposed to the real on-ground practical exposure before they join the industry. And my request to all the industries, please create enough opportunities for these students who can come and get the exposure of real on-ground practical education. When we look at the current MBA ecosystem, there is not much space for practical work. Most of things taught in B schools are theoretical. When I work with my peers, I don't ask them for any textbook definitions. I never ask them the management definitions. When we walk in the corridors of corporate, we discuss the practical solutions. And I would request each one of you to close your eyes and think about the practical exposure and the internships you have done and what kind of learnings you had. And please compare that with the textbook and theory you have learned. Which one you are practicing? Which one has helped you in the real corridor of corporates? The textbooks we study in big schools have cases of foreign countries with totally different environment. In India, the market is not same as in other countries. There are layers of market and each layer has further requirements. The textbooks which we read in MBA are not exactly written with the market requirements of India. There is an evidence gap between the education being provided and the industry requirements. Today in India, we have to work towards giving employment to our young generation. And if we need to do that, we have to bridge the gap of education and the skill set we need. This gap makes the process of hiring tedious because the process is dynamic. The market landscape is changing rapidly. You know, before COVID and after COVID, the scenarios have changed. But how many textbooks have changed in management education? What are we teaching? Before internet and after internet, things have changed. Before Geo or after Geo, industries have changed. But how many new textbooks have come? Hence, this gap has to be filled in, and it is only and only the practical on-ground real work and internships where students and especially management students will get this learning. Let me draw an analogy here. My grandfather got married and he was informed one day before that he is going to marry. When my father got married, he was only shown a passport size photograph and he has to agree to marry. When I got married, I was shown the girl's photo and got a chance to interact with her. But the next generation will not settle with that. They want to meet, they want to understand each other, and they don't want to settle with one day exposure. And that is similar to the hiring process evolved during last so many years. In my grandfather's time, even if you are educated and you fill up a form, you are going to get an appointment letter at home. During my father's time, he has to fill up a form and give an exam for that job and he will get an offer. During my time, I have to fill up the form, give an exam, go for the group discussions and interviews, and I'll get the job. But in coming days, jobs will not come by just this much interaction. Both the employee and employer have to understand each other, and that's exactly what I'm doing right now in my company. We hire a lot of interns and give them PPO because the intern likes me and I like them. When the employee loves the company and the company loves the employee, that's the best marriage. And here, my request to all the institutions, management students, and the industry to create that ecosystem where we can have happy working together. People have this question, how will I know that I am supposed to marry this person? In similar way, how will you know which is the right company for you? So when you work on lots of projects, internships, you get a lot of exposure. And this develops an understanding in you whether you fit in the company for that job role or not. It gives you more clarity and confidence about that job. Especially in India, we have a lot of people who do business but have no formal education. All the streets of India are full of businessmen has no formal education. And yes, few of them are really successful. In other way, the formally educated MBAs are afraid to start their startups. We need to ask this question, is our formal education limiting people's mind to start new businesses? And to me, it is the practical, real, on-ground exposure they miss, whereas the uneducated businessman is getting it from their family. If you see the other countries, they have the culture of entrepreneurship starting from the school time. Their internships are embedded in their school education. Whereas we have long years of education and lesser number of days for practical work. Time has come to broaden our vision and goals. Even take into consideration factors like 5-year plan for the economy. We need to reimagine leadership and nurturing leadership through formal education. We need to develop mindsets. We need to create mindsets for warfare strategy. The landscape of business, the environment of business, and the needs of consumers and the ecosystem is changing rapidly. And hence, we need to work on nurturing the real-time leadership. Developing the management lessons theory versus practical. The management lesson has to be the amalgamation of theory and practical. And for me, the practical part is more relevant as of now. Please don't take this as a complaint, but this is a request, the conversation we need to start, and we can definitely debate on this. Developing management lesson theory versus practical. And when we talk about the FMCG sector, a lot of students come to me and say, sir, we love FMCG and we want to join in FMCG. We have more salespeople in India than marketing folks. When someone says they are interested working in FMCG, we expect them to be comfortable visiting the small kirana shops and talking to the small retailers to understand their problem. And these so-called formally educated MBAs, when they go on ground for a week, come back and say that how much more field work they need to do. And that's not how FMCG works. There can be different options to integrate education and industrial exposure apart from the mandatory internship program. My ambition is to contribute to such an education ecosystem where the students and the corporation can connect to each other. There is a lot of practical work and both stakeholders get to learn from each other. Such an ecosystem will help develop better entrepreneurs, exposing them to an entry stage and not limiting their minds to the textbooks concepts. And the point here is that one should never become so much of a theoretical expert that stops gaining practical experiences. This is how you become a real master of business administration in your formal education. From last 5 years, I have been closely interacting and working with young students, and this is my mission. We are absolutely open to create opportunities for all the students who are looking for real, practical, on the ground exposure with us. And this is my humble invitation to each and every student in the country that we will create an opportunity for you to have that real time exposure on the ground, which will create the learning for you and the connect with the industry. Driving value through internships, real, practical, on the ground is an idea worth spreading. All the best.
I hope you all have enjoyed this session. And also, I would like to thank you, Arvind sir, for sharing about his views on marriage, job application in different generations. Then practical part is more important than the theoretical part, and the mission he is working on. Apart from this, I would like to introduce sir, as he is a horse riding enthusiast, TEDx speaker, and part-time RJ who drives satisfaction by empowering and adding values for people around. Joined Dukes as management trainee and appreciate the journey of organization growth. Failed multiple times in the process of bounce back, and after every failure, established diverse cross-functional teams engaging with CXO level executive and board of directors. Person with a history in FMCG, food and beverages industry, a technocrat while alumnus of NIT Warangal, ISB Hyderabad, and Kellogg School of Management at Northwestern University. Professional with hands-on experience, passionate to drive business growth through system-driven process, automation, and people orientation. Working to ensure assigned products and services consistently resonate with current and potential customers. So I am now over to you, Arvind sir. I hope your words will help the student to decide. Yes, sir. To decide the discipline and know about the market scenario after the pandemic.
Good morning, everyone. And I'm really happy and thankful to be here with you all today morning. My best wishes for each one of you as you have joined your MBA journey, the management education journey with IIEBM. I've been told that you are all new students who will be listening, and I'll be interacting with you all. So first of all, wish you all the best for your program, and you have a great future. Okay, India is coming up, and don't worry about anything. This COVID and all the things will settle down. And in fact, you are the rare ones who are facing the COVID, who are facing the lifetime, like a pandemic kind of situation. And that's a different thing. That's not very common. So, when it comes to Gyan, I'm like you all. 10 years back, I was in your sides. So I don't have, to be very frank, I don't have great Gyana, or I have not written any books or models or something like that. But I'm just want to tell you all that I'm just like you guys, and whatever I've done, I've done. I can share my experiences. I can share if you have anything you want to know. So one thing which I always see that makes people grow in their life and how the growth happens, that process is I have put on into my language, into my structure, and that's what I will talk to you all for another 10 to 15 minutes, and then we can interact with each other. So I'll just share one slide. So I'm just sharing that. It's about how we grow in life. Okay, and this is also relevant to our topic for the day. Opportunities don't happen. Opportunities don't happen. You create them, and they are always outside the comfort zone. and not inside the comfort zone. So your growth always happens when you get new opportunities, and opportunities are always outside the comfort zone. So in whether it is your personal life or professional life, or in the lifetime of a product or a country, or an organization or an NGO, the growth is always outside the comfort zone. And when you take little risk, at that time your growth prospects are higher, and you take less risk, your growth prospects are lower. This is the formula where the world is operating, and this is how everyone grows in life. So if you want to grow, you have to analyze and being present to how are you operating in your life, how are you looking at the things, how are you behaving on a particular situation. As in this platform, I'm not able to see the faces of the students who are listening to this, what kind of energies are there, what kind of what are you looking at. But as you all starting your journey for MBA, I would like, as you have listened to my TED talk just now, I would like to request you all to be into practical space of the learning. Real time, on ground, and practical learning is always complementing the theory what you learn about the management. And while you are doing your semesters and first years, and you're completing your journey, be into space of keep reviewing what have you really achieved and what you need to understand, whether it is about a subject or it is about a concept. Until you understand the practical side of it, it's not complete. And what we can offer you at Dukes is we can offer you various programs. Of course, internship, we can give you engagement like projects, or the new product launch, or something you want to do. You can interact with our HR. You can interact how you want to. If you have something regarding Dukes, or you want to do something really on ground, we'll be more than happy. So that opportunities will create. And it depends on you how you stretch yourself, because you need to manage your working hours, and you need to manage your practical exposure. And if you want to do that, you have to put in your extra number of hours into it, because again you have to come out of your comfort situation. Anytime when we go for something new, we always enjoy the learning. And the moment we learn it, we have to see that we take a step forward. If you plot your one side you plot growth, and another side you plot risk. Okay, so when you have growth in this side and risk in this side, the moment you don't take risk and you don't grow. Okay, because you're not taking risk, and risk means you have to stretch yourself, you have to go out of your comfort level. Every time you do something, and then it comes a comfortable situation, and human inertia is always putting you into not allowing you to go out of your comfort. So when you don't take risk and when you don't go out of your comfort, that's called the zero risk situation, and that is called आराम की दुनिया. आप अपनी आराम की दुनिया में रहना चाहते हैं तो आपको ग्रोथ नहीं होगा, बिकॉज आराम की दुनिया में ग्रोथ किसी का नहीं होता है. एंड इट्स नॉट लक. द अपॉर्चुनिटी इज ऑलवेज it will just not happen, and if it will happen just like that, it will not stay. So opportunity is always outside your comfort zone. And when you take little risk, like in the curve, you take risk, so growth happens. And that, when you come out of your aram ki dunya, the comfort, that is called vikas ki dunya, the growth zone. Okay, when you take risk and you're growing, because you're coming out of your comfort, you're pushing your limits, and that is, what happens in that stage. थोड़ी घबराहट होती है, and your little discomfort because you're taking risk and because you're going out of your comfort zone. You feel less stability out there in that space, that zone in the life. So घबराहट है, that's obvious, but at the same time your learning is also at the next level, and you're growing, you're understanding new things, you're creating new neural networks in your mind, and you're building your capacity to deal with it. So that is called Vikas ki Duniya, the growth zone. But in the same time, if you take extraordinary risk, if you take very high risk, so वहाँ पे panic होता है. Panic means what लग जाती है. If you go and take like very high risk in life, in any area of life, whether personal, professional, or anything, so beyond this घबराहट की दुनिया or the विकास की दुनिया, if you take further risk, that becomes panic. And I don't advise to be in panic. I always tell and follow that you should not be in आराम की दुनिया, where there is no risk you're taking and you're into comfort and you're not stretching your limits. And you should also not be there in the panic where you take a very high risk without understanding your capacities and capabilities, and you panic. But you should always lie yourself into Vikas ki Dunya, into growth zone, which is you take risk, you stretch your limits, you build your capacities and capabilities and go further. There will be little घबराहट in that zone, but you will be building your learning space, you will be building your experience, and you will be getting confidence to do better and to get better things in a lesser time and come up with more productivity in whatever you're doing in your life, in your education space as well as in your businesses or personal or professional lives. So that's what I wanted to tell everyone, that always keep yourself into line of the growth, and that line is the line where you cross your comfort, you come out of your aram ki dunya and go into the growth zone. And that's how I always tell everyone, opportunities are not just happening, you create them, and they are always outside your comfort zone. If there is something around you which people are not able to do, that's the opportunity for you to do that. So always look, what is the difficulty around which they are not able to resolve? And the moment you know that this is something difficult which anybody else or the people are not able to resolve, that's an opportunity. And that's where you can create new business ideas and you can develop new businesses. So always look forward, look around. If there are difficulties available, there are things which are not happening, how you can make them happen. And that's how an entrepreneur always think and look forward for. So that's what the slide was all about. I have explained you. So we are open for the interaction, and we have any questions, we can interact with the students. More gyan in a go will not be able to digest. I don't know what is the attention span in the world of Instagrams and Reels and the series is, how much they will pay attention and how long they will pay attention to my talk.
So students are asking that as it's a retail market mostly, and after pandemic it is hampered severally. Mm-hmm. So what is your view that after 5 years where you see this market? As we can see that in DMart and Big Bazaar, the product means eating products, the eating product line is increased compared to the necessity of the human being. So what is your view on that, sir?
I didn't get this. You're talking about the retail market growth in India?
Yes, sir. After pandemic.
Okay, we human beings have our definite needs. Okay, and needs are starting with essentials, which we need. We cannot survive without them, and then it comes to value-added products, and then it comes to your luxury products and your comfort products, and which you will not die if you don't have, but if you have a quality of life, you buy them. Pandemic or not non-pandemic, human beings are after all human beings, and we are going to recover with every pandemic. In the history of so many thousands of years, human beings have faced bigger pandemics and bigger difficulties, but we have never given up, and we are going to recover on this. And retail market will be booming. India is a big country, and we have still consumption growing up. We have people in villages who have not seen those fancy products which we are using in metro cities. So we have metro cities, we have tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 and villages. So Indian retail market is going to grow leaps and bounds. There is no doubt about it. And not only food products, but other than food products, the products will grow. The pandemic will come. We are going to deal with it. It's a temporary phase, and there is no doubt that this market will grow. Don't worry about it.
Thank you for your view, sir. In pandemic, when there was a lockdown, the channels, means the transport and all are struck up. So in that phase, how you manage your channel sales?
There were difficulties, and whenever there is difficulty, you come up with your scenarios, your new ways to deal with it. I think for a week or so, government guidelines were not clear, and for a week's time, the government guidelines were not clear on the first phase of lockdown, and transporters were in confusion, and the vehicles were stopped in all the borders. That was the time we were dealing with the authorities and understanding, taking the permissions, and because Dukes as such is into biscuits, and biscuits were essentials, and essentials were allowed. But we ensured that all the customers and consumers available across the country are serviced the biscuits. Because demand was also high, we could not handle the entire demand, as the production capacities were not running on the high capacity because of low labor availability, and people were in heavy confusion. They were in panic situation, in fact, and they were trying to go to home, back, and things like that. So we have serviced, in fact, not only Dukes, other companies have come forward. The ecosystem of transportation has evolved during that days, and another, after a week's time, things were under control, and transportation of essential items were allowed. What we have extra done is, because online sales were growing, Flipkart and Amazons of the world and the baskets of the world, we were, and their godowns were full. So our logistics have decided to keep the stocks in the vehicles outside their godowns. So that the moment their stocks are done, we can supply immediately within zero delay time. So that's how we have been dealing on those days.
Thank you for your view, sir. Really appreciate the way you people have serviced the people, because that time food is the most important thing for human being, and availability in that time is really appreciable. So sir, one more question from student side. They are saying that what type of challenges you are facing now because of this digitization? Means the most of the people living in rural areas, they are not used to with the digital platforms, means taking orders online, delivering foods, your products. So how you train them or provide a support from your side for rural people?
So very good question. In fact, I don't agree that rural people don't understand the technology. I have a brother in a village in Haryana who uses to. He's a 10th, like my cousin brother. He's a wrestler, and he's a 10th pass person, but he keeps 2 Chinese mobiles and orders everything online. Okay, and deliveries are also happening. So after Geo, internet connectivity has gone, and there are vernacular languages have come up. So it will be in Telugu, Marathi, Tamil, Malayalam. Every language e-commerce is coming. If you compare India and China, two countries where we are penetrating into the rural thing, it's not technology or education of the customer which is limiting our rural people coming on these platforms. It is the logistical ecosystem which is a limitation as of now. The cost of logistics and connecting the items to the villages as per their orders, the logistical challenges are more than the education and technology challenges. And the entire ecosystem is working on that, and governments are also coming forward how best we can ensure that customer is the king, and the companies or the manufacturers are able to service the consumers in every nook and corner of the world or the country. This is going to grow further, and again e-commerce as well as modern trade, general trade are going to grow. E-commerce will have better percentage because the base is less, and whether it is tier 1, tier 2 or the rural areas, they will be growing. In fact, rural will be growing more than the urban in coming days for e-commerce. That's the big, and everybody is gearing up for that, including like all the e-com platforms are gearing up how to handle the rural demand. If you see the data and analysis of them, the rural areas of UP, Bahraich, Gonda, Darbhanga, all these areas, the orders are coming and percentage of orders are growing. They are coming up and joining the squad.
Yeah, great to hear that, sir. As you said that opportunities don't happen, you create them, and they are always outside your comfort zone. So our students are asking one question related to this. Let us consider there are 2 students. One enter into a tourism or in restaurant side, and other one entered into IT or health. So we can see that in these 2 years, those who are working hard in tourism or in restaurant, they are not getting output out of that because of the scenario which is created due to this pandemic. And one who is working in IT or in health sector is getting good benefit out of that. Even if he apply less effort, he is getting more gain out of that because of the trend. So if someone struck up in this type of scenario, some are going fast, some are going slow. So what you will suggest to the student when they struck up for some time?
What I suggest is go for your passion, okay, and do what you love to do, and love what you are doing, okay. If you create more options, the confusion will increase and satisfaction will decrease, okay. So first and foremost, you should go for your passion. If you love hotel industry, if you love food in whatever way, you opt for it. And if you love IT and your interest lies in IT, go for it. That's what is the core of any business or anything. You need to follow your voice of your heart. Now, when it comes to industries, there are phases and there are times when a particular industry is going to do great and boom. And the world is changing and the disruption is happening. There was time when Nokia had maximum market share and the QWERTY phones were doing good, but within no time, the touch screen phones have come up, and Samsung has taken this air, and others have come up. So it was not that Nokia did something wrong. The industry was changing, and the consumer preferences were changing. Same way, sometimes hotel industry and catering industry is doing great. Don't take everything in the course of Corona, because this is temporary and it will go away, or else we will find a solution of it. So today when I go to restaurants or see around, there are people coming back to restaurants. There are people coming back to the normal life in whatever way, with taking precautions and having all the precautionary measures and vaccinations and all. So don't look only from the window of Corona. This will go away. But industries, like there was a time when IT was booming like anything, and then IT bubble bursted. Today IT has become common, but still IT is required. And if you are doing something different and something new and something which is relevant to the new consumers and the people who are looking in the industry, you're going to boom in the IT as well. So it's all about you adopting yourself as per the needs of the customers and consumers in that industry. And there will be phases when one particular industry do great and another industry may not. But you need to see how your passion and your expertise, your capacities and capabilities are for like your education, your exposure, your interest, your and that's how you need to be satisfied. If you see in today's world, maybe robotics and biotechnology and pharma, and these are the industries which will do good in coming days. Whereas education, IT, hospitals, and restaurants may not do good or very very great, but they will not also go bad. They will come back, because this is what you need every day. And when human beings are there, you need restaurants. You need the business may have shifted from eating to the Zomato or takeaways. The number of takeaways are going like crazy, and Zomato, Swiggy, all these people who have come into the industry have been flourishing because of COVID. So they are taking it as an opportunity and making this. The retailers who have started doing home deliveries, and those restaurants who have started giving home deliveries and serving to the customers sitting at home, have done better businesses. So it's not that everybody has not done good. There are people who have done really, really good in the COVID times, but those are the people who understood what exactly is relevant in today's scenario. So you need to do what you really love to do, but always look for what is the relevance, and you need to adopt as per the consumer need.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. The next question is, what is the percentage share of fast food in India?
Percentage share of fast food?
Consumption. Means
I'm sorry, I don't have that percentage with me. I'm extremely sorry. I don't want to do any guesswork.
Okay.
So we will take one more question, because 11. We are approaching 11, and question we will conclude the day.
Sure, sir. So as you are from the computer background, since you are a computer engineer and then you did your MBA. So do you think that if you are in an IT industry, so if you instead of in this industry, you have grown more, do you think this?
I never thought, because there is no relevance to it. I loved working in food and FMCG space, so I was always looking for it, and I'm loving whatever I'm doing. I'm enjoying every day. I'm enjoying the failures and successes, and that's how I keep myself up and going and running and with the energy. I don't know, अगर ये होता तो वो वाली philosophy is so dangerous, कि अगर मेरी चाची की मूंछें होती तो वो चाचा होता. So all these are irrelevant, so I never thought of that.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And last question, sir. For these students, what you will suggest 5 points that if they are entering into FMCG sector, these are the plus points and these are the cons of this industry. So they have a little bit idea. Yes, sir, please.
See, every industry has plus and minus. Okay. What if I talk about FMCG? If you are really want to be down to earth and are ready to go to the consumer markets, you're ready to face the smaller retailers and convincing them and understanding the requirements, and also in India, challenges of logistics and reaching out to the people. If that is there, FMCG is there for you. You should love it and you should go for it. If you are not made for that interaction on the ground in the market practically, then FMCG will come as push to you. This is the industry which never goes bad, and as long as we human beings are existing, our essential products which we used every day are going to be in demand, and you have a better learning space into this. Across the industries, people prefer somebody who has worked in FMCG. So always the new industries coming, they always take people from FMCG because FMCG people have dealt with better, like more challenges, and these are the people who ensure that 5 rupees or 1 rupee candy from the factory to the outlet, how it goes and how it creates business.
Thank you, sir. One question from Diksha Gaikwad. There are few opportunities which comes to us, but still due to peer and society pressure, we won't able to take it. In this situation, what we have to do?
You go for your gut. You go for what you think. Peers and societies will always come up with some kind of limitations and restrictions. Okay, that is happening from generations. And one generation believes that they have been doing great and their sanskars were really great. But world is changing rapidly, and then the generations also adopt to it. So peers, if you always think about peers and society and aunties and uncles in the world, I don't know. So if Mark Zuckerberg before making Facebook would have asked his grandmother or parents, "मैं ऐसा कर रहा हूँ," so they would have said, "No, you go home and talk to them. Why are you talking like this?" And he would not have made this business model. So I think if you believe in what you want to do, you go for it.
Sir, one question from sir, what are the things that help an intern to get PPO? What are the expectations from an intern?
Expectations are you excel in whatever have been done and whatever companies expected, you are doing more than that. So that's it. And you understand the culture and adopt the culture. Always industry is looking for better people, better human resource, and the guy who or girls who can deliver better results. And also the education institutes are trying to make better trained people who do better in the life. So we have to just amalgamate and have the exposure in the industry. While they do multiple internships, they also understand am I really loving FMCG, or am I loving IT, or am I loving this? So sometimes they are confused. They don't know because I don't know how these industries behave. So for that, they should go and have some little experiences. Talk to those people, do some projects, do some internships, so that they understand really कि मैं बाद में जोर का झटका जोर से नहीं लगे, उसके लिए अभी जाके मैं देख लूं कि this is how this behaves, how this industry parameters are there, and how the life of people into that particular zone.
Yes, sir. Last question we will take from Pradeep. Sir, have you ever get panicked in your career journey? What was the situation in which you get panicked, and what did you and what you did to overcome it.
I don't know about panic, but I also am a human being. I also have emotions, and I also cry and laugh, and I also go from low and high emotions. So when I fail or I feel bad or I feel panic, every time I have created my anchors, I have created my values in life. So I need to do this, and those anchors are always helping me. For example, today when I get up every day, I know that there are thousands of people looking up to me so that their life will be better. So in Dukes, all the factories, we have women workers. A lot of women workers every day come on daily basis and they work. Now those laborers, if Dukes will do better, they will get more jobs and more ladies can be accommodated. And that's what is always motivating me, that if I do better, my people do better, and Dukes do overall good, we can generate more employment for them so that their kids can go to school instead of doing some labor into and they said they get better life. So that's where I always keep motivating myself. Even whatever low moments or emotions I get, I know I have to do certain things for my existence. So you create why are you getting up every day and moving forward, and that will give you the energy.
Thank you, sir, for your insights. Really, it will help the student, means it will give you a clear picture which are the threats and where they should focus in these 2 years and how they will get a PPO in your organization.
I really enjoyed interacting with all the students. I again wish them all the best for their MBA thing, and whatever help or interaction they want, we welcome them, and have a great time, guys. Enjoy. Always see that you're enjoying your life. You're having better experiences, and you are the rare people who are facing and doing this in pandemic. Okay, in last 1 century, you are doing in MBA at this time. So instead of grieving, mere time pe corona hona tha, ye all that, instead of doing that, you should say that yes, I am the person who have been facing this, and we have overcome this thing, and still we have been doing well. So you change the context, and that will empower you. Every time you face the difficulty, you change the context and make the situation which is giving power to you, and you overcome that situation. So don't worry about anything in life. Just go on, do what you feel right you're doing, and all the best. Have a great time. Enjoy your life.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable time. After this session, means in this session only, I will play your video of new worker orientation at Dukes India, which will help the student to understand how new worker orientation is done at Duke. Right, sir?
Thank you. I take leave of everyone. I have another meeting at 11:15. So thanks everyone, IIEBM, all the students. Stay connected, stay safe, stay strong, and love you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Sanitation and hygiene are the key factors that go into the production line of food manufacturing industries. At Ravi Foods, strict cleaning and sanitization practices must be followed, ensuring that all workers work under hygienic environment to produce a safe product. Once in their work uniforms, the workers should move to the wash area for a thorough hand wash, before which they must ensure their nails are cleanly trimmed. Workers must follow a prescribed procedure to wash their hands. Then use soap solution and rub their hands thoroughly, and later rinse off with water until all the soap residue is washed off. Later, the worker should dry their hands in the jet speed hand dryer, completing their hand wash process. Next, the workers need to walk along a closed room to be completely flushed out with air showers. As a final sanitary measure, the workers must rub isopropyl alcohol onto their hands. On completing this, workers should move to their respective workplaces and begin their day's work to deliver safe and hygienic products. The workers and employees are requested to cooperate and voluntarily declare any illness he or she is carrying in the interest of food safety.
Thank you, dear students.